Random. Random.
Being that I'm here right now, I'ma go and get it right now, get committed right now. I'ma do some shit that's gonna uplift a bunch of people's spirit right now, help them heal it right now. I'ma get them riches right now. Work plan, manifest, be, speak that shit into existence right now. Can't slow down, got the vision wrote down, cause I seen it, man, I'm on right now. Focus in the motherfuckers where I'm in the zone right now. Ain't no later, dog, it's only right now.
And it's only right now.
It creates.
Right now. It's only right now.
It creates.
Oh my God, it's
Right now.
right now.
It's only right now.
To me, gon' do, cause all I get is right now. Fuck what they did to me, gon' do, cause all I get is right now. So I focus on that when I can focus on now. Pull up at a beach on the outskirts of town. Enjoy the view and give thanks to the truth. And I go hit the yo just to shut that bitch down.
And I'm high right now. So alive right now. Clear skies right now. Living my life by my own rules. I feel what I choose.
Random.
Do it now. Gonna take some words, okay? And I'm right back at it. Divine alignment, fully automatic. I don't think about it. I just watch it happen. I just move toward it and I get supported. When I try to force it, it just get distorted. So I dance with it. Crystals all in my pants with it. Healing all in my hands with it. I'm an alchemist. I'm a master. I'm a rabbi. I'm a sensei. I'm a bad guy. I'm an alien. I'm an animal. I'm a cannibal. I'm so handsome, no. Yo.
And I'm high right now. Can barely open my eyes right now.
And that money we making it. Climbing these ladders and laying foundation, that's masonry. This shit is different, cause my dreams are literally chasing me. Grateful for where life is taking me. I'm living life, that's to say the least. Only true beauty can tame the beast. Only true love can tame that beast.
Are you here with me right now? Right now.
You are back on the bench with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. What's going on, Pink?
Not much, man. Ready for a great show. Going to talk some hoops today. Got the great Mike O'Donnell coming on the phone.
Yes. Have Mike O'Donnell coming in the phone. I mean, he's a ESPN CBS analyst, so he's a busy guy, man. Couldn't get him here in the office today to talk shop, but he's going to bless us with his knowledge over the phone, man. That's what's up.
Former member of Pedro's posse.
Oh, man. Shout out to Juan and Pedro's posse, man. Juan is linking us with these guys, man, and we definitely appreciate him. Shout out to Juan.
And Juan's going to slide through himself later in the
Hopefully,
show.
man. He's still hooping. He's still balling on the old knees. So
They're
we'll
not as old
see.
as mine.
But like Pink said, man, once again, on the bench with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. You can catch us on all podcast streaming platforms, including YouTube. That's where you can show your support of just subscribing to our YouTube page, checking a couple videos out. That's all. You don't have to buy anything and spend all of your money, spend all your tax money on us. We just ask you to subscribe and spend a couple minutes of your time checking out a video. Now, also, what I want you guys to know is, like he said today, we're talking college basketball, March Madness. It's a lot. It's going to be a crazy tournament, of course. But if you're anything like us, passive college basketball fans, so Mike O'Donnell is going to tell us who to watch for, what teams we need to watch, what players, it can be soon coming to your favorite NBA team and things of that nature. Also going to get in some NBA talk with Juan later, so definitely a sports-heavy show. But if we have some time, I do have an online dating update.
Oh,
so
yes.
You might want to stay tuned for that because we have some of that, and it's pretty good today, all right?
I'm excited.
Now, what I just definitely want to let you guys know that we are powered by overkink.com. Don't forget our very first sponsor, overkink.com. If you use promo code BubbaPink, they have all of your bedroom needs, and I mean all of them. All right.
And you can see the website right there in front of you,
That's right. You can't miss it,
including some sort of sex toys right there and a
Yeah.
relatively shocked woman.
That can be your face. That could be your face. Just go to overkey.com. She didn't have promo code Bubba Pink, so your face should be better than that. But yeah, that's it.
That could be your face at a discount.
Let's work on getting Mike on the phone. Pink, what did you do today, man?
I worked. It's kind of what I do today. No, I went. I got my 500 shots up. Shot the lights out today, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. I was over 70%, over 500 shots.
That is loud, and the thing is down. That is weird. Let's see if he has my number saved.
This is Mike.
Mike, it's Brian Pink with On the Bench with Bubba and Pink. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Pink. I'm good, man. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. So we're bringing you in to talk some college hoops today as we begin March Madness.
All right, buddy. Sounds good.
Yeah. So you've covered a number of games over this college basketball season, and as a casual college basketball fan, I was looking at you. What are a couple teams that you think can maybe make some waves here in the early rounds of the tournament that maybe you've broadcast or just familiar with? And who should we be looking out for?
Well, you're looking at, when you're filling out your bracket, you're trying to find that sleeper. You're really looking for a team that is consistently, when you're talking mid-major,
Yeah.
you're talking a team consistently really, really good on the offensive end. Or the other side of it is on neutral site, the old saying is defense always travels. So is there a mid-major who is just incredibly good on the offense, on the defensive end? I think there's two teams in the Mountain West to take really seriously.
Okay.
And one is Colorado State. That offense is exceptional. It's really hard to guard. It's a lot of 5 out, 4 out, 1 in. They had a dark horse All-American candidate in David Roddy, who's built like a Mack truck, yet he's limber like a ballerina. He's really, really good. And they have a point guard, Isaiah Stevens, who is just tremendously solid. Both were all Mountain West teams. And that's a team that can routinely give you 80, 85 anytime they step onto the court. I like the Rams of Colorado State a lot.
Okay.
And, staying in the Mountain West, San Diego State analytically has the best half-court defense in the country.
Really?
And they are absurdly good in half courts. They have a good transition defense, but their half-court defense is analytically number 1 in the country, and it has been number 1 in the country for the last 8 weeks of the season. They're the Aztecs. They do have one player on the offensive end named Matt Bradley, who's actually a Cal transfer. He was all Pac-12 at Cal. That is the dude can really hoop.
Okay.
But their offense is a little suspect, but they make up for it by winning games in the 50s. So if you're looking at a team, if you're looking at 2 Mountain West teams, I really like a lot. That's Colorado State and San Diego State.
Now, how did Colorado State and San Diego State do when they played each other?
I'm trying to go back and think. So I believe they split.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe they split. And when Colorado State beat San Diego State, a lot of it came down to, and it was still a low-scoring ball game. It still came down to San Diego State just couldn't make shots.
Gotcha.
And then when Colorado State lost, there was just so much emphasis on guarding Roddy. They just had an unbelievable game plan, and I think the Rams shot less than 14% from 3 that game. They just could not hit a shot, and a lot of it has to do with San Diego State defense. But those 2 teams really, really, really good.
Nice. Anyone else jump out to you that we should be mindful of in making our brackets?
Yeah, I think there's 2 other teams too that I really like. Is one is Davidson out of the Atlantic 10.
Steph
they
Curry's
have 3.
alma mater.
That's right. They have 3 all-conference players: Hyunjun Lee, Foster Loyer, and Luka Brakovic. And Brakovich is an inside-out post player. Every single player on Davidson's team can shoot threes. Every single one.
Oh, wow.
They have one of the best assist-to-turnover ratios in the country. If they don't turn it over, they're a solid defense, and they can get absurdly hot from three.
Okay.
And one of the best passing teams in college basketball. And then the other team, they're not a mid-major, but if you're not taking Virginia Tech seriously, you're not watching what they did the last 4 games in that run in the ACC tournament. They are really good. That's Mike Young. He can coach his tail off. He coached Wofford when Wofford advanced in a couple games in the NCAA tournament with Fletcher McGee, local kid, a couple years ago. And Mike Young is an incredible coach. They have one of the most difficult offenses in the country to prepare for. And they got a local kid. Virginia Tech has a local kid, Hunter Couture.
I was just going to mention
Orlando
similar
kid.
to Fletcher McGee, they have a local guy. He torched Florida State a few weeks ago.
What school?
So Hunter.
Was he an OCP kid?
No, it wasn't an OCP kid.
I'm sorry, First Academy?
Nope, wasn't First Academy either. I'll have to look at it. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot it. But Couture dropped 31 on Duke in the ACC championship game. He was unbelievable.
Oh wow!
And they figured it out at the right time. And they're a double digit seed right there, an 11 seed.
Yeah.
But Virginia Tech is. I mean, they're hot at the right time.
I was gonna say, any thought though, and I've got burned on this. I've watched the conference, not this year, obviously we're gonna see, but I've watched conference tournaments. I've seen teams a little bit like Virginia Tech get hot, win their conference tournament, but then I don't know if they're maybe emotionally spent at that point, but really kind of fall flat in the tournament. Is there any concern on your part that Virginia Tech might suffer a similar fate?
A lot of it depends on how the three ball falls for them. They're looking for the three. They're hunting for the three. They don't just live and die by it, but it's a huge part of their offense is not just making threes, but the threat of the 3-point shot gets the defense shifted in a way in which they want. So if they are making threes, it does change a lot for the Hokies for sure. But you're right, Bink. Historically, not every time, but historically, that team that goes on the run in the conference tournament to get hot, maybe they were an 8 or 9 seed in the ACC tournament, and they weren't considered as an at-large team. That sometimes they run out of gas, but it depends on the style of play, and you do have enough gas in the style of play. It's like one of the reasons why Syracuse almost every single year, right? They'll finish 9th in the ACC. They'll go on an ACC tournament run, and they'll get a 12 or 13 seed in the tournament, and they'll make the Sweet 16 or Elite 8.
Right.
Well, their style of play is really conducive for that. Number one, they shoot a ton of threes, and if they're hot, they're almost unstoppable. Number two, if you haven't played that 2-3 zone, they're like the only team in the country that plays a legitimate 2-3 zone for the entire game.
Right.
So it's really hard to scout and prepare for that if you haven't faced it consistently.
Mike, Bubba here. So what are your thoughts about the blue chip teams, the big dogs, if you will, the Dukes, the Gonzagas? What is your outlook on them, and who has the best chance to make it, to the final game there? Out of those teams?
Well, I appreciate you calling Gonzaga a blue chip. That's pretty big time out of the West Coast Conference. They're deserving of it.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, they've out recruited Duke and Kentucky for the last 4 years. So there's something to be said for that. But Zags are the real deal. I mean, they're the truth. I mean, about Chet Holmgren. He's a unicorn in the draft. Drew Timme is, second team All-American. Just an absurdly consistent and good front court player. And then Andrew Nembhard, their point guard, he's the key, man. He might be the best point guard in the country.
Florida transfer, correct?
Nembhard is real. Yeah. Nembhard is definitely he is the leader for sure, and he is so unbelievably good at orchestrating that offense. He's got great tempo and pace. I've got the Zags getting to the championship game and winning it. I had the Zags winning it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I need to redo my.
I think you still have time. You probably have tomorrow at 12:05. I think.
No, man. I've lost to my wife for the last 6 straight years, and she's just picking favorite colors and
Pink
fun team names. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
He had a good comment yesterday. What was that?
I don't remember.
Who typically wins the?
Yeah. When you do like the office pool and stuff like that, like typically it's like the person who watches the least college basketball. Like,
exactly.
Always.
Some random like legal assistant, maybe the receptionist at your office, just puts it over everybody.
No question. Almost every time, man. Almost every time. But yeah. So my Final Four is Gonzaga, Baylor, Tennessee, and Kansas. So it's a little chalky. Wow. But Tennessee, if you haven't watched Tennessee play, Tennessee was, I think, giving them a 3 seed was just a total slap in the face to the Volunteers. They've got their point guard, Kennedy Chandler. He's a freshman, and he's a top 5 point guard in the country as a freshman, and may end up being a lottery pick in the draft. He's that good. And they're just absurdly efficient on both ends of the floor and super, super, super tough. Like, a lot of times you might get teams that are really efficient on the offensive end, but they lack that kind of toughness and grit on the defensive end.
Yeah.
That's not the case for Tennessee. They are very fluid on the offense, on the offensive end, but really, really, really gritty. There's a potential Elite Eight matchup of Tennessee and Arizona that will probably be the best game in the NCAA tournament if it happens, because Arizona they're probably the most aesthetically pleasing offense in college basketball. But that's a matchup that would be you'd pay a lot of money to watch that live.
Good deal.
Now, would you say that an argument can be made that Chet is the best college basketball player? Like, if you could have a list of your top 3 best players in college basketball right now going into this tournament, who are they?
Wow, that's a really good question. So right now, the best player in college basketball is Keegan Murray of Iowa. He's an All-American candidate, just a walking double-double. He's a 3-level scorer. He's probably the most pure 3-level scorer in college basketball right now, right? He's got a consistent 3, mid-range, and anything around the rim, he's just buckets. And he might be the most underrated defender in the Big Ten as well. And probably top, what's interesting is I was hearing some talk about, what are the Magic going to do if they for some reason they don't fall the top 3 picks. There's a lot of talk in the from some of my Magic contacts that if they fall out of the top 3, like if they're 4, 5, or 6, they're going to get Keegan Murray. It won't even be like a hesitation if he's available in the top 6. He's really, really, really good.
But you anticipate he won't necessarily be a top 3 guy, Murray.
No, the top 3 picks in the draft are going to be Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, and Paulo Banchero. Those will be the most likely top 3 picks. I think Jabari Smith is the clear one. The clear number 1. He's a future NBA All-Star. He's really, really good. He's Paul George. Going to be Paul George good. He's big time.
Nice.
Yes, super kid, tough as nails, really, 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 really mature. Yeah. So get back to your question, like the top 3 players. So Keegan Murray's number 1. Akbaji for Kansas is number 2. Nobody talks about Akbaji for Kansas, even though he's been a top 5 scorer in the country. Nobody talks about him because he's a senior. He's an older guy, but he's so good. He's Big 12 Player of the Year, All-American. Akbaji is big time. He's probably the second, and then I would probably go Jabari Smith as number 3 as best overall players. Then 4, 5, and 6 down the line are really interesting. Like, I think about Jaden Ivey for Purdue, who is a mixture of Russell Westbrook and John Morant. He's a bigger version of both those players, but plays that type of. He's probably the most electric transition player in college basketball. So incredibly fun to watch. If you haven't watched him for Purdue, who's probably a sleeper Final Four team, Jay Ivey's the truth.
I got to check him out. I usually avoid Purdue. I can't watch Matt Painter.
I don't know why. I mean, Purdue is their defense is suspect. Their offense is crazy good.
Okay.
And then Johnny Davis at Wisconsin. I think like it's a toss up for like 5 and 6. Johnny Davis at Wisconsin and Kofi Cockburn of Illinois. I don't think there's a player in college basketball on a neutral floor that, if you just haven't faced a player like Kofi Cockburn for Illinois, he's so big, he's so agile, he's so consistent that it's almost impossible to emulate that in practice. He's just immediately steps on the court, demands a double team, and always makes Illinois dangerous because of Kofi Cockburn. Nice. So that's probably the top 5.
Gotcha.
Oh, wow. Now, you kind of edged into it. I know we were going to ask you about the most exciting teams. Like, just once again, coming from the standpoint of a passive fan, all of these games are coming on at the same time, as Pink was saying. What teams do we just need to watch and point out? Is Purdue definitely one of those teams? If there are multiple games on at once, which teams do we need to lock in on as an exciting team?
Well, Gonzaga is just, they're the most complete team, number one. Arizona has the most aesthetically pleasing offense in the country. That's number 2. A sleeper Final Four pick is Iowa and the Hawkeyes. I talked about Keegan Murray, who is going to be a lottery pick. He might be the best overall player in college basketball. So if you're just tuning in to watch him, that's fine. But Iowa, I think I can make an argument that Iowa has the best offense in the country statistically.
Okay.
And analytically is they will put up, they can give you 90 and not even blink an eye. Iowa is going to be really good. And then honestly, guys, Purdue's a blast to watch. They're great on the offensive end, suspect defensively. Well, I love watching this Tennessee team play. I think they're so sound on both ends of the floor and remarkably deep. I'm a huge Kennedy Chandler fan. I mentioned them; they're point guard.
Yeah,
that's a team that is very, very, very fun to watch. However, the one team that is capable, that has the most explosive run ability, and Pink, you know what I'm talking about, man. Like when teams go and like. If you take a team and in 2 minutes go on big runs, what does that look like?
Yeah.
Gonzaga can go on big runs. Arizona can go on big runs. But there isn't a team in college basketball, if you give them 2 minutes to go on a big run with full court press, threes, and dunks, it's Auburn. They have an absolutely ridiculous ability to go on 14, 15-point stretches in 2 minutes that is – it's just suffocating to play against, and had made them one of the more dangerous and best teams in the country. I mean, they're a 2 seed for a reason. They were blowing people out most of the time, and it wasn't even a full 40 minutes. They would have a 2-minute stretch where they'd get up 15. It was like if you just sneezed and you accidentally close your eyes, and oh my gosh, they just it's block, turnover, dunk, block, turnover, 3, 3, 3.
Yeah,
and
you're in a 1 or 2
Auburn
possession game, and all of a sudden you're down by 15, wondering what happened to you.
But if they don't go on that run, they struggle. They really struggle. That's why Texas A&M beat them, right? Yeah. They just didn't allow them to go on any runs. But that's one of the more fun teams to watch when they're hot.
Gotcha. Now, Bubba, you have a bench start cut for Mike here?
Yes, we have several start bench cut scenarios here for you, Mike.
Mike, you familiar with this? Here, we're going to give you 3 players.
Oh, yeah.
Got to start.
I hate
bench,
this. I hate this. I'm too nice. I don't like cutting anybody.
We're here to make you uncomfortable, man.
Deal.
All right, so the 2 scenarios, the first scenario I have for you is kind of like throughout the history of college basketball, right? You have all of these great players that have come through. So it's in the frame of, the best college basketball players ever, right? So start bench cut. Christian Laettner, right? Michael Jordan, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who wasn't Kareem in college, right?
Lou Alcindor.
What are you doing, man? What are you doing? Those are literally the 3 best players, like in the history of college basketball.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
That's what makes it tough, my man.
So are we talking? So we're doing just in college, right?
Just
Yeah,
in
based
college.
on the college resume.
Yeah.
There you go. College based on that.
Yeah,
college
yeah.
resume.
Okay, so this is going to be really, really painful. Starting Lou Alcindor,
Oof.
benching Jordan, cutting Leitner.
Oh, I like it.
Very, very, very difficult. Very difficult to do. Very difficult because Leitner, like you could make the argument that Leitner was a better college basketball player than Jordan. Like you really could if you're looking at
I mean,
statistics
team achievements, statistics.
Yeah.
And the other crazy thing when you watch that Leitner thing, I mean, like they literally connected eras. Like you had, they played the great UNLV teams and they finished with the Fab Five team and battled Shaq somewhere in between. I mean, that's just kind of like absurd, kind of like almost like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon stuff with that, that 4-year span that Leitner had at Duke.
No doubt, but those are probably that's probably the three of the greatest college players of all time.
No, seriously. All right. Next is in the vein of one and dones. Of course, we know that we're just smack dab in the middle of this one and done sensational era here. All righty, so we have Carmelo Anthony, we have Greg Oden, and we have Anthony Davis. Start, bench, cut.
Oof. Well, immediately cutting Carmelo.
Whoa!
Immediately.
That surprised me.
That
college
is very
Yeah.
surprising. We're just talking about college.
Wow. Yeah, I know. 2-3 zone, no defense. Didn't play a lick of defense.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
I would probably. Yeah, I would bench Anthony Davis and start Oden. I think
Really?
if you go back and if you look at the stats, if you look at the accomplishments of Greg Oden and how dominant he was unbelievably dominant. And Ohio State probably would have won back-to-back national championships if it wasn't for those Florida Gator teams that were the two of the greatest, one of the greatest college basketball teams literally ever assembled was those back-to-back Florida Gator national champion teams.
It was interesting.
Odin was unbelievable.
You picked the only guy who didn't win a title out of the three, which is interesting.
I know. Well, a lot of help. Melo had a lot of help around him. That was a weaker tournament.
Yeah.
Number one, and so, but Davis was the fifth leading scorer on that Kentucky team.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, that's true.
interesting
That's true.
stat.
No.
He wasn't the first, wasn't the second, wasn't the third, wasn't the fourth. He was the fifth
Wow.
leading scorer on that Kentucky team.
Yeah. No, that's true.
And not take. I mean, like Anthony Davis is unbelievable, but that team was.
Yeah. Well, let us
absurd.
not forget that. I mean, Greg Oden had his high school buddy Mike Conley on his team.
Yeah. Oh no, that Ohio State team was great, but that Florida Gator team, that Florida Gator team would have blown out Carmelo Anthony's team, would have blown out that Kentucky team.
Yeah.
That was the Florida Gator team that was, top 5 college basketball team ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were loaded. I mean,
Yeah.
They were something special. Do you got another one, Bubba?
No. That was it. It.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And look forward to continuing to listen to you broadcast games for ESPN and CBS.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy the tournament.
Thank you, sir.
Right,
Have a great one.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Later.
Gonna take a musical break here?
Yeah, man. He surprised me on the Melo.
Yes,
Greg Oden.
I was shocked on that.
I was shocked.
I was
shocked.
in my mind. I was like going probably Melo first, and I was gonna cut Oden, and
I think that would be the national selection.
Perception, yeah.
But like he said, I picked those names because Greg Oden was a monster in college. I think we automatically think, oh, he was hurt all the time. But no, college Oden was there.
He only had to keep it together for 35 games. I mean, really, he played one college season.
When you really think about it.
I mean, Anthony Davis is like damn near the same way as an NBA guy. I mean, injured all the time. So, that's the thing. But I was aware, on that team, he wasn't a high scorer. He was kind of the do-everything guy, Anthony Davis, on that Kentucky team that was very strong. So, But, I mean, I get the argument. I mean, Oden was like a legend in high school, really. Before he even got to Ohio State, this is the next big man that's, whether you're talking like Shaq or whatever, he was supposed to follow along that line. And again, like Sam Bowie and a lot of these other big guys becomes just a sort of a tragic story of injury preventing any sort of career from even getting going.
Yeah, man. So let's take a quick break here. We'll be right back. You are on the bench with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Once again, that was Mike O'Donnell, ESPN, CBS college basketball analyst. If you still have brackets to fill out, you might want to replay that segment because he had a lot of teams, a lot of players. None of us know, but they're hoopers, they're ballers, and more than likely they're going to win some games, all right?
I really want to redo my bracket.
We'll be right back.
I'm Himothy though, you know, like, I'm that boy.
Finny bag of donuts, how are you?
First day after 30, guess I'm supposed to feel more mature or something. Niggas on my post screaming it's all love, but I ain't feeling none. I'm tired of talking about how they caught the ops down, but they ain't killing none. My therapist said she include none but a bad bitch in a million ones. Enough to change her whole life before 30 or when her children come. She lied, she turned 30, she still tricking, she the friendly one. She lied, she still tricking out of all the hoes, she the realest one and that's fine. Just don't fuck nobody, baby, when my niggas come my mind. All over the place, that 40 on me when the enemy come. Had bad hoes when I was 20, now that I'm 30, I want a different one. I'm 30, baby, you ain't gotta negotiate, you can pick you one. I know they say it's a young nigga world, but I'm still the one, I'm still the one. Ain't no such thing as old, I popped the perky, she just 21. I had to fuck, I had to see if it was worth it. I'm way too impulsive, my mama say I make her nervous. Coming where I come from, niggas don't make it see 21 and I'm 30. They hit me dog with that 30, I won't retaliate, but I'm grown now, we grown now. All you gotta do is say you wanna fucking get flown out. It hurt me to tell some of my niggas you on your own, we grown now. And the business mean on Zoom with a little bad bitch, I'm zoned out. And the business mean on Zoom with a little bad bitch, she showing out. I got a 3-0, soon as I put my baby to bed, I'm going out, I'm going out. All the way out, the only thing I know is max it out. These young niggas so wild, I got that thing on me when traffic out, when traffic out. I can't expose my hand when I save my bitch life. When I met her, she used to dance. 100 bands up, she bout to quit, yeah, that's the plan. Ain't got time for no headaches on that flight, I'm on the Zan. Ain't got time for hoes, my last name, my little bitch wanna share. If she knew all the hoes I hit in this city, she be embarrassed. Let's go half on the sun and talk about it over match. The business doing good, we just made $250 a piece. I celebrated over wine and busting down the Georgia peach. I was at the library getting a master's with that 40 in my reach. Young dog knew I become the day they let me off the leash. I done did things to get here, must admit I ain't no priest. But I just got some kids a scholarship, I'm talking 20 each. Will I be greater than my daddy? I guess time would only tell. Or them fourth graders I just caught a vibe with over Charlottesville. Wrote my first business plan in the living room, apartment 12. They hit me dog with that 30, I won't retaliate, but I'm grown now, we grown now. All you gotta do is say you wanna fucking get flown out. It hurt me to tell some of my niggas you on your own, we grown now. And the business mean on Zoom with a little bad bitch, I'm zoned out. And the business mean on Zoom with a little bad bitch, she showing out. I got a 3-0, soon as I put my baby to bed, I'm going out, I'm going out. All the way out, the only thing I know is max it out. These young niggas so wild, I got that thing on me when traffic out, when traffic out. Day after 30, it's just a day after 30. Got a bad little red bitch and I pray that she don't hurt me. Got a bad red bitch and I pray that she don't hurt me. She got my heart, she deserve it. Shout out to my daughter, she so perfect. Shout out to my niggas, they so worth it. Mike, tryna dish it, tryna get my bitch a Birkin, yeah. And I stay away from them people cause I heard that they was working, yeah. And there's only two things for certain, that's life and death. I came in this bitch by myself, I'm ready.
You are back on the bench with Bubba and Pink. That was Smoke, Rayshawn Brown with Day After 30. He just have an album that just released, man, a couple of days ago, man. You guys need to go check that out. Once again, man, a crazy good artist, crazy good local artist. Pink.
Yes.
I want to give a shout out here, man.
To who?
Lady in Lingerie Massage Therapy. Now listen, people.
They're calling it therapy now.
They're calling it, massage therapy. Listen, if you're anything like me, you're always sore. We're the 30 and up crew. Some 30 and up. And listen, man, you get sore.
Up and away.
and you just need a good massage. Listen, man, I have the website here. You go to Lady in Lingerie. A very, very good masseuse. Yes, I've had the service, and it is awesome. All right, I'm just going to let you know it is awesome. All right, it is. They're in lingerie. All right, and it's a very good massage. Top notch, A+, 5 stars. Go to the website, book it, get it. Let them know Bubba and Pink sent you, all right?
Did they massage everything?
Let them know Bubba and Pink sent you, okay? Lady in lingerie.
Oh, jeez.
Pink, it is time for Pink Reaction.
I'm still reacting to that. Wow.
Let me get my timer out. Once again, you're on the bench with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. If you want to show support, we just go to our YouTube page, subscribe, check a couple of our videos out. We're pretty funny.
Yes, we are. On our day, we're pretty funny.
And I am headed to Pink Reaction, where we're going to give Pink.
I guess I'm heading there too.
Where we give Pink. I'm getting my timer ready. We're going to give Pink. This is a brand new phone, people. I was out of phone for 2 weeks. If you were watching the show, and
so is that a permanent phone or a temporary phone?
This is a permanent phone.
What is it? It looks.
It's the new Samsung. I was going to go to Apple. 3 sales guys. One was a saleswoman, and 2 sales guys. They talked me out of it. All 3 of them talked me out of switching to the iPhone.
Really?
So I just took their advice. Who knows?
What was their reasoning?
There's just saying that number one is going to be a lot to go from an Android to an iPhone. It's just a lot of work. That's number one. Number two, it was going to be much more expensive as far as me switching from an Android to an iPhone. And number 3, the phones are just too similar between this and a 13.
That sounds like 3
through.
bullshit excuses. It really does. It sounds like they're incentivized to move Samsung phones. They're fucking lazy to transfer your data. And, yeah.
I'm going to be mad if I got swindled.
I think you did.
If I can get swindled that easily, that's not good.
Dude, everyone gets swindled on cell phones.
I should be able to see like
No. Cell phones are so... Dealing with cell phone salespeople is really a miserable experience.
It's almost worse than a car person. Because
Yeah.
at least you know, like, you know.
Well, but the problem is I've never talked to a cell phone person who I actually had the impression they knew what the hell they were doing.
Yeah.
Like they're rattling off this information about the various plans and features, and it's like, do you even know what you're talking about?
Well, they're just rattling off information. These are guys that, I mean, and no disrespect, you have to work. People have to work and feed a family. But, you know, these are, you know, they're just coming over from Walmart, McDonald's. You know, they're graduating, they're 18, 19, 20, going up, and then that's their next job. So these are not very technical, people.
I think the whole industry is designed to confuse people, though.
Yeah, it is.
We all need phones, and there's really not too much difference. So they just give us all this nonsensical jargon.
Yeah.
And it just is like, all right, just shut up and give me a fucking phone.
All right, let's go for Pink Reaction here. There is a lot of stuff going on, man, in the news. Let's start here. I want to start in the world of hip hop.
All right.
Fabulous, the rapper, man. When you're a rapper, I mean, you can, Uber Eats, Uber, DoorDash, all that stuff all day, every day. You don't care about the extra fees. So Fabulous, apparently, he's a avid DoorDash buyer. So very recently, he had a DoorDash guy come through, give him food, whatever. And the DoorDash guy went and stole, like, a lot of stuff from Fabulous's car in, where he lives.
The car out in front of the house?
The car out in front of the house. So he goes and he steals, apparently Fabulous goes on IG and explains, he steals like coats, sweaters, his Fabulous baby shoes, his child shoes that's in there, and his shoes. And
was this before or after he delivered the food?
This is after he delivers the food.
So Fabulous is in there eating and chowing down, and this guy's going through his car.
Right, but Fabulous has a camera where, of course, like a lot of successful people do, even non-successful. My cousin has a fucking camera outside of his house. Why? I have no fucking idea. He's paranoid. But, and he sees the guy going in and out, grabbing the stuff, and he puts out an IG post and says, hey, if anybody knows this guy, give you money, and also let this guy know that, hey, if you return my stuff, I won't call the police. But, if you don't return it, I'll have to go react to that.
Oh, that's just shady stuff, man. And how could you not figure out who he is? There's no connection with Uber Eats. Like the app doesn't provide information on the driver. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to, and you prosecute the son of a bitch. Seriously, like I have no issue with that. That's just foul stuff. Why are you stealing the stuff from this guy? Did he screw him on a tip though? That could be an issue.
Oh, man.
Like, Fabulous orders a bunch of food and gives him, like, a $2 tip. All right, I wasn't going to do this, but I guess I'll have to go through the Lambo, see what I can find. So, I mean, prosecute the guy. We can't tolerate that sort of stuff. My guy, Paul Pogba, was playing a Champions game yesterday, and his house was burglarized during the game.
Oh wow.
And this is a big thing in Europe. A lot of players' houses have been burglarized while they're playing. And it's like the thing where you're obviously everyone in the world knows you're playing and you're not at home. But I mean, if I'm like a guy like that, I would hire like armed security during my game.
Time.
Yeah.
Time. All right, next. Our last hip hop note here. Kanye West and Pete Davidson are still going at it, man.
May never end.
More recently, of course, if you're living under a rock, Pete Davidson is the new boyfriend of Kanye's wife and ex-wife. They haven't filed the papers yet, I guess, so it's technically still his wife. And Kanye is just still going on rants on IG and Twitter. And more recently, they displayed the text transaction between him and Pete, and Pete is like, fuck you, I'm with your wife, I'm home with your wife. When Kanye asks, where are you? He's like, I'm in the bed with your wife. And then Kanye goes and he reposts a old comedy clip of Pete's talking about how he wants to fuck children, why people wants to fuck children and things like that. So, it just goes on and on, man. Pete, go.
Kanye has some legitimate issues. Pete's not the most stable guy in the world. I mean, he's probably not a good guy to have around your kids. I get that part of it. I saw some of the thing where Kanye had an issue with his daughter being on TikTok and this and that. I get all that. He's an estranged father. That's got to be a terribly emotional thing. But he's not helping himself by putting it this much out publicly because he looks bad. He looks out of control on some of this stuff. And like the text I saw from Pete was like, he was like, hey, let's meet up. Meet me at this place. We'll talk it out, whatever. And Kanye's just like, oh, just come to the Sunday service or whatever. I'm like, fuck you and your Sunday service. I don't even like religion. I'm not going to come to your service. And what do you do? You're performing at the service. We're not going to have a man-to-man talk at your fucking Sunday service. So that's ridiculous to me. But it's just petty on both guys' part, man. Honestly, for the good of the kids and the fucking sort something out, man.
Time. All right, so Pink, Tom Brady is back, man.
Yes, he is. I love it.
Tom Brady is back. I mean, he spent 38 days, something like that, retired, and he's back, man. What do you think fueled his need to come back, and where do you see the Bucs going this year?
I don't think Tom ever truly wanted to retire. I think he loves playing football. I think he loves it more than anything in life. And I was surprised when, like, the day of the game against the Rams, the story came out, and I think he almost got boxed into retiring. And he wasn't comfortable with it. When he got separated from it, he's like, fuck it, I want to play. Like, who's going to stop me? I think it's good for the Bucs. I don't think that they're automatically going to be a favorite, but they'll be in the playoff mix. If things break right and they make the right free agent moves and stay healthy, they can win. But I'm happy to see him back, man. I as somebody who's 50 years old and loves to play, I respect it, man. Go do what you want to do. Don't just stop for the fuck of it. So I like all the memes about you. I spent like 2 months with his family and realized I need to go get I need to go get chased by 300-pound linemen. This is freaking miserable.
What does that say about it? Stop, man. I would like to get into that at a later date, man.
Okay.
Yeah. He spent 2 months with his family and was like, I got to get the fuck out of here, man. Okay. Deshaun Watson, right? He's on tour, man. He's interviewing with teams. He's on his college tour, if you will. So he's interviewing with teams, talking with teams. More recently today, it was with the Atlanta Falcons. He's actually from Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. I'm like 90% sure that's the case. He's from Georgia, Atlanta area.
Yeah.
But so he had a conversation with the Cleveland Browns, and apparently Baker Mayfield caught wind of that. And that Deshaun had a conversation, not even whatever. And then Baker goes on Twitter and just releases this farewell speech.
I saw that.
To Cleveland. So, Pink, react to Baker's farewell speech just because Deshaun had a conversation with the Browns.
It's funnier to say that, but I think there's more to it than that. And Baker Mayfield did not have a great year. He looked bad He looked worse the better Beckham looked with the Rams. And I mean, he's in a precarious position. There's real questions. Can he be a guy that really leads a team? I look at him not unlike where Jameis was a few years, like before Tom Brady went to the Bucs. His play has been uneven, and he's in a precarious position. And so, if they're looking to kicking the tires on Watson, he's ready to leave, do it with some dignity, I guess. I don't know, but I don't know where he pops up. But again, it was premature. It makes it really awkward, unless there's stuff behind the scenes where we know this is basically a foregone conclusion.
Exactly. Time. All right. Oh, no. Don't want to lap. I want to reset. Okay, so lastly and not least, my man, Kyrie, man. 60-pointer. The Nets are looking scary. How far can the Nets really go, man, in the playoffs? Go.
I don't think they win it without Ben Simmons contributing. I think at some point they'll run into a problem. And it's not that Ben is that great, but I think he gives them a necessary roster versatility that you're going to need to win 4 series. And if he's unable to contribute in any meaningful way, I think they'll get beat at some point. But they are dangerous. Kyrie's playing great. They also got to resolve the when he can play, and I think the mayor needs to step up. He said some idiotic quote about wanting women to play Major League Baseball. Yeah. It's like, let Kyrie play first. Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ, this guy. At this point, here's another. Just going back to this COVID bullshit. Number one, this is the dumbest thing that the public has ever done, reacting to COVID as they did. Mm-hmm. It's caused all of these financial problems we have right now, and it's contributed to causing this Russia-Ukraine situation. So pretty much our reaction to COVID has been the root of all evil we face today. And here's the deal. Since the Ukraine Russia invaded the Ukraine, nobody talks about goddamn COVID. No. Except in reference to Kyrie Irving. So let the bastard play, and let's move on. This is nonsense. This is total garbage. Let the man play. It's well overdue at this point. Yeah. Day to day, nobody gives a damn about COVID. I haven't from day one, for the record.
Once again, you're on the bench with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. That was some good reaction, Pink.
Appreciate that.
I don't know. I think the Nets, as presently constructed, can and should win it all. Now, the latest on Ben is that he's more than likely going to miss the remainder of the regular season. And that they're looking to have him day one of playoffs. Not sure what that does for your camaraderie and on the court. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what it does for that, but yeah, that's for right now. That's the word. And I don't know. I call me crazy. I think it makes them a worse team. And again, I'll have to see it. But Kyrie and KD are such offensive geniuses. You have KD, who scored effortless 50-plus last week. Here goes Kyrie with the effortlessly 60 points. That it can make Ben Simmons literally, I don't give a damn what you're doing offense type of deal. But with Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond on the court together, that should not succeed in today's NBA. I would have to see it.
I agree with you. I don't think that particular lineup is the answer. But the way I look at the playoffs, the way I look at a tournament is I want to have all the weapons available. And I don't know what the winning formula is going to be, and the winning formula can change. Now, damn sure it's going to include a lot of KD and a lot of Kyrie. But there may be a series where Drummond plays, 25 minutes a game through the whole series. There may be another series where he averages less than 10 minutes a game because it's just not the series for him. And having been
that's not going to happen in the East.
It may.
No,
it may be in the final.
If it does,
it might be in the final.
Oh, okay.
You don't know.
I know.
You're trying to win bullshit.
It's not bullshit.
If you're trying to win a championship,
I know that already. It's not in the East. It's impossible for Drummond not to play more than 28 to 30, 35 minutes a game. There's not a team in the Eastern Conference top 6 or 7 that does not have a big that they would not need Andre Drummond from. It was already.
What about Boston?
What?
They don't have a big like that.
Neither
does Miami.
Yes.
Who?
Bam and Al Horford will destroy Ben Simmons on both ends of the court.
And Drummond will not have his way with those guys defensively.
Drummond will be able to out-rebound those guys significantly.
But it won't always be the matchup. Like, Bam can do a lot of things that Drummond can't fuck with.
No. Drummond is whatever. He's a.
But you're telling me he's going to play. He has to play
center.
25 minutes every game in the East.
It's
and
because
I'm saying he doesn't necessarily have to.
It's because of what Ben can't do and what Drummond less than what Drummond can do. Does that make any sense? Ben Simmons cannot rebound with any center in the starting Eastern Conference. He can't defend. He's not a great paint or rim defender. He's really what he is a perimeter lockdown defender. So you can't think of him. You can't think of taking Drummond off and putting Ben in. That's not it. You have to say, okay, I'm going to take Seth Curry out and put Ben in. Now you're cooking with something because Ben is a perimeter player. And it's not just you, and I know it's because I've watched 1,000 million games. Ben is an effective player. I'm not saying he's trash. I'm not saying he's terrible. But he's not just because he's 6'10" doesn't mean he's a guy who should be playing near the rim. He is a perimeter player only. Like, he cannot, this facade that he can guard Greek Freak, that is, go watch highlights and watch the tape if you don't want to watch games. That is 0% not the case. He can't guard anybody from the 4 and the 5 that can score a tiny bit.
I don't necessarily disagree with that. I still don't necessarily that means that Drummond plays 25 to 28 minutes all 3 series in the East. You just don't know what the winning combination is going to be. And that's why, I mean, if I'm looking at it, I want to have all hands on deck, all cards available to deal with whatever throws.
I would love to see it. I just want to see it because, of course, I could be wrong 99%. So I'm not saying I'm definitely right. I'm just saying I have to see it.
Yeah.
And we will, apparently.
Hopefully. Because I read something today that he might miss the playoffs.
Oh, wow. I just saw that he will probably miss the rest of the regular season. So who knows? Yeah. Who knows, man? Once again, you're on the bench with Bubba and Pink, home of sports music and mayhem. Let's get to another musical break, and we'll be right back. Let's go here. Face the Zoe.
Am I wrong? Y'all know who it is.
Boy, Face the Zoe. You know we still live, full of fair. But now I'm gonna teach you how to live full of fair.
FLA stand up. Coalition Kingdom DJs. Am I wrong?
Started in Palm Beach County.
Like we told y'all.
Right off 5'8".
We ain't gonna tell y'all no more. Am I wrong?
Rest in peace, Pipe.
It's official.
Me, I go on to reveal.
We break purpose. Let's go. Am I wrong? I switch my lane up, put that cane up. Am I wrong? I change my mindset, got my faith up. Am I wrong? Can't worry about hate, I'm coming by grace, bro. Am I wrong? I want my state because I'm saved, bro. Living my life, am I wrong? For real though. That's how I feel though. That's how I feel. Tell me, am I wrong? Real though. Real though. Real though.
So it's out my vision, but it's in my reach. In the word of a deep in the streets. In my cities, I fed the streets. I was in green pastures, but alone that sheep. He knew my spirit, so he shepherded me. He picked me up when I was weak. They wish I slept but firm on my feet, so I pray to God and I stay on beat. And I was on a mission, so I swear to beat. I'm by me issue, but I preach the peace. Contested boy, and I bring the heat. My bulo, talk a swish sweet. Lord, I hope you hear my cry, so forgive me, Lord, and take me, please. Say the enemy suffer defeat. My only opposition was beating me. Am I wrong for sticking to the code and keeping it real, 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 real? Am I wrong? Am I wrong for doing me and not caring about how they feel? They wanna persecute me for doing me. They scared my music might heal the weak. Said a prayer to bro, so it's rest in peace. Curtain beat, soon with me. I left the streets, I went to school. I finished school and I left the streets. And I'm trying to reach my destiny, so I pour my soul in this Luigi beat.
Am I wrong? I switch my lane up, put that cane up. Am I wrong? I change my mindset, got my faith up. Am I wrong? Can't worry about hate, I'm coming by grace, bro. Am I wrong? I want my state because I'm saved, bro. Living my life, am I wrong? For real though. That's how I feel though. That's how I feel. Tell me, am I wrong? Real though. Real though. Real though.
I've seen it all. rapture, overcame it all. Lost some of my peoples, man, I miss my dogs. But through it all, standing on my paws. Built to be real, homie, never flawed. Ever being 100, a round of applause. Woo. I've been through so much ish, I can't write it all. Woo. They say this music my call, I'm waiting on my call. To cover the pain, all I do is ball. If you wonder why I do it, I do it for the ones that ain't gone, for the ones that ain't gone. On my graduation day, my dad say proud, saying be the art, so I'm owed all the God. For the ones wanna see me down, keep waiting on my phone. Shout out to the real ones, keep it real on they song. And I'm the last of a die breed, can't tell me that I'm wrong.
Tell me, am I wrong?
I switch my lane up, put that cane up.
Am I wrong?
I changed my mindset, got my faith up.
Am I wrong?
Can't worry about hate, I'm coming by grace, bro.
Am I wrong?
I walk by faith because I'm saved, bro.
Living my life, am I wrong? For real though. Real though. Tell me, am I wrong? Real though. Real though. For real though. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Somebody tell me. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Somebody tell me. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
You are back on the bench with Bubba and Pink. That was Face the Zoe with Am I Wrong? Shout out to Face the Zoe, man. I actually met him at our mentoring program. He does mentoring as well as being an incredible artist. Don't want to label it as a certain label, but it's definitely positive hip hop, positive music, and it's dope as well. So definitely check him out on all streaming platforms. All right.
I like that song. Good vibe to it.
Yeah, man. Awesome vibes, great vibes, lit vibes, whatever the kids are saying these days. You know what else has been lit vibes, man, is
What's that?
my online dating journey, man.
It's back on fire.
I had to take a couple of weeks off due to the phone. They don't do well over desktop and laptop and things like that, man. So
I gotta ask this because I had a friend of mine. He used to like pull his social media profile for like 30, 60 days. And then he'd put it back on. And he told me the reason he did that was he didn't need to unplug. But he felt if he pulled his profile for that long a time and when he popped back up, he got way more attention from women. Because he was like the missing guy.
yeah, out of sight, out of mind type of
Yeah,
thing. Oh,
and
and then
he-
you come back.
Yeah. Did you experience that when you were back active on the apps this week?
No, what happens? I'm going to tell you what happens. I guess it's a tiny bit of that.
Yeah.
When you go away for a little while, the girls you were talking to, they disappear, right? Because
Okay.
they go on, because everybody on there has whatever 5, 8, 10 people that they're talking to. So if a person misses a couple of days, it's over, no matter what the reason for. If I try to go back to a girl I was talking to, whatever, 3 weeks ago when before my phone was messed up, and I try to go down and say, hey man, my phone was messed up. There was no way, I didn't have your number. There's no way, they're just not going to contact me back. It's over. They already got it. They're dating now. They might be married by now. Like it moves that fast, man.
And murdered on the honeymoon. I was in a horrible accident. I called Dan Newland. I just got back.
So right before, there's a couple of things going on online dating. All right. So here goes the first thing. It's about 3 or 4 things I wanted to list.
Okay.
Right before my phone got messed up.
Bullet points with Bubba.
I knew I was going to go without a phone. Have to go without a phone. So
Did you have a premonition or something?
No, because I could still use my phone on Wi-Fi. Remember?
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
I couldn't dial out, get text or anything.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. And so I'll say, okay, so let me try to get, whatever, 1 or 2 girls, and I'm going to try to, take them out on a date. So let me try to get their number. Let's get this out of the way now. I know it's early, blah, blah, blah. So I take the one
like
girl
the hurry
out.
up offense.
Yeah, hurry up offense, man. Like, hey, my phone's going to be messed up. I'm going to be without a phone for 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Let's
I don't
make
know how
something
long it could be.
happen.
You want to go out, let me get your number. If not, whatever. You can try to be here when I get back. So I took the one girl out. And, she was cool. What happened is we ended up going out like 3 times, right?
Okay.
Ended up going out like 3 times. One time we didn't necessarily go out. I took her to work, but I count that because I had to drive.
Took her
far.
to work.
I had to drive
To her job?
Yeah, I had to drive like whatever, a fucking hour.
What?
Right.
Where does she work with? I'm not saying the company, but like.
Well, it would be the company if I said it. It's like no other way. I can tell you off camera. So whatever, right? So I count that. So I count that as one time, and then 2 days I count that as 3 times. So then I'm texting, and I'm like, I say a comment like, she said something about, I been asleep, or I just want to be in the house all day, and I just want to lay in the bed and be in the house all day. So I say,
your house or her house?
No, right. So I say, well, you can come over here and we could just chill and watch movies or something, and we could rest up.
Yeah.
I haven't heard back from her since.
Really?
What the fuck is wrong with that? 3 days. I take her to work, an hour fucking way.
Wow. I don't know what to say. So
and that's the one. Remember, I came in. I said I just dropped whatever. I said one. It was like 150.
Yeah.
Oh, that was her.
Oh wow. So you dropped good coin. You transferred her to work. Had she been over to your place?
No.
Oh, maybe she was uncomfortable with that.
But it's 3 times. How many times do we have to go out, and how much money do I have to spend? How many times do I have to take you to work?
Was this Ludwig?
It sounds like her sister or something, right?
You need 6 steak dinners, and then maybe you get a kiss.
That's fucking terrible.
That is terrible. So that was totally it, though?
That was totally it. I haven't heard from him since.
She was happy for you to drive her to work.
Yes.
Or to drop $1.50 on a meal.
Yes.
But when it came time to hang out, she wasn't interested.
No.
Bye, bitch. Bye.
That's it.
Yeah.
No love lost.
No. Money saved. Headache saved. Blue balls saved. Bitch, be gone.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Seriously. All right. Another thing that has been going on, I just, it's not that I don't like. It's just weird, right? So, females who, so they have children, all right,
yes.
Which is cool. A lot of them do at a certain age. At the age range that I'm dating in. But the ones who have, and we kind of talked about this before, especially with D-Law, who wants to come back on the show, by the way, in person this time.
Good.
And
she does a lot of working out in her garage.
She does. She does.
Maybe she could do a workout here.
Maybe she can. I want to pause this online dating thing to say something kind of for D-Law, but for everyone. But D-Law in particular. The IG close friends is not for dogs and puppies and working out in garages and memes. This is just for everyone, but D-Law specifically. The close friends on IG list is for exclusive twerk videos. It's titties or ass needs to be shown. That's what it was created for. What we're not going to do is transform this and change it to some positive, good thing. That's not what it's for. We're not doing that, okay? We're going to make close friends great again.
Yes.
All right? Make close friends great again.
Yeah,
that's what we want to do.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It makes no sense at all.
No, you can just do that on your regular page, your regular story.
Because when you see the close friends icon, you get a little excited.
Yes. And no one disappoints me more than D-Law. Last thing on the dating thing. That's because I wanted to get that out. They have kids. So the thing is that they don't want to date men with kids. The women with kids don't want to date the guys with kids. So they have it on their profile.
Its finest.
Yeah, they have it on their profile.
4 kids.
Mother
Not
of 4,
looking
mother of 3.
for a guy with kids.
Don't want a guy with kids. It can even be mother of 1 or 2. I mean, it's literally about 95% percentile of the women I see and talk to. Sometimes it's right there on their profile, and sometimes it's just in conversation. No, I can't date a guy with kids, da-da-da-da-da. But what they don't understand is, but also they don't want any more kids. Or they want to wait whatever till they're married and 5 years down the road. That just doesn't match. Like if a guy that doesn't have kids, more than likely he's going to want to have kids. Right. So why are you're just cutting your fucking list down by 90%. You're not going to date guys with kids, and then you don't want any more kids. So what does that leave?
That leaves the Rose, so they need to become subscribers to the show, and find 3 friends in similar situation, and you all can win the Rose and share it. Maybe put some private IG videos, close friends, using the Rose.
That's fucking hilarious, man. That's fucking hilarious.
That's hypocrisy at its finest.
It is, man.
What do you expect though? Honestly, not much.
You guys are on the bench with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem.
Do you have another bullet point on dating or no?
No, that's just.
I thought you had 3 or 4. I counted 2. I'm good at math.
You are, but we're gonna pause there.
Okay.
We don't want Jimmy Green turning up frowns at us.
keep the bullet in the chamber.
Yeah, man. We'll keep it for next week. Keep it for next week. You know I'm going to Costa Rica this weekend, so maybe a story may come out of that.
If you don't get a prostitute, I don't know what's wrong with you. Juan blessing himself and you.
Going to Costa Rica.
You need to take hella pills. I'm gonna just say that.
Yeah. Juan thinks I need pills. What is going on?
No, I'm telling you
probably do.
I probably do. I do need.
Up at your door,
I do need them.
Yeah.
My ex will tell y'all I'll need pills anyway without that.
But if you want, I'll put my buddy on the phone who just got back from Costa Rica. He'll tell you.
Oh,
really?
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Maybe next week we'll compare stories. I have to see. I want to see for myself before we go. And
be
see
prepared. Be like a Boy Scout.
Yeah, that's it. We'll be right back. Here goes Babe Bubs.
Come here. God, shut up. I love you. Right. Hey, shit. Yo, big fine ass. Twisting that walk, you wine pass. She say she only like eating sushi and buying bags. Lace 300 and it's 150 an eyelash. I'm trying to bag her like Tide trash. Her ex was all kind of trash. Tell him playing traffic and try to crash. Tell him this whole thing go rap like a body cast. I know he thought he could leave you hanging and try to brag. But love is life, babe, you gotta laugh. No, I ain't just trying to smash. I got you covered like the bottom half. I hold that gun like I'm still trying to find a flash. Shade for me, I split a frog like a science class. And then it's Netflix in a wine glass. Yo, big fine ass, twisting that walk, she wine past. She said she only like eating sushi and buying bags. Lace 300 and it's 350 an eyelash. I'm about to work you like a time task. Yo, big fine ass, twisting that walk, she wine past. She said she only like eating sushi and buying bags. Lace 300 and it's 350 an eyelash. I'm about to work you like a time task. She bullheaded, but her sign says held me down when I sacked up them dime bags. Can't be single with your fine ass. Crush her to usher, make a climax to climax. Down for the smoke like I'm Cyrax. I've been watching her like an IMAX. I've been clocking her like a Timex, trying to hit her like hi-hats. Say she single and I don't buy that. Unless them niggas come with 10-day contracts. Yo, big fine ass, twisting that walk, she wine past. She said she only like eating sushi and buying bags. Lace 300 and it's 350 an eyelash. I'm about to work you like a time task. Yo, big fine ass, twisting that walk, she wine past. She said she only like eating sushi and buying bags. Lace 300 and it's 350 an eyelash. I'm about to work you like a time task. Come here.
You are back on the bench with Bubba Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We've got our guy Juan Bernal, the Orlando 407 legend, the man for whom basketball never stops. And we're going to talk some NBA. Juan, welcome aboard. It's been a while.
Man, it's great to be here. I was supposed to be here, about a month ago, but it's great to be here. And there's never a bad time to talk basketball. And I hope to, I'm not as qualified as our buddy Mike O'Donnell, but I'm going to try my best.
There you go. So, Juan, couple of fantastic performances this week. 60 points from Karl Anthony Towns, your Dominican brother.
Yeah.
And then Kyrie dropped 60 on the hometown team.
Yeah, in baseball, they have a saying. It's known as the dog days of August. In the NBA right now, you're looking at the dog days of March. The season's coming to a close. You're in the home stretch. And, for a team like Brooklyn and Minnesota, they're looking to round into playoff form. and especially for a part-time player like Kyrie Irving, he's going to put forth as much effort as he can to try to stay fresh and in rhythm for the playoffs. Because remember, he has not had a full litany of games under his belt.
Yeah.
And he's in a unique circumstance, and he will be for the very foreseeable future, in my opinion. I don't want to get into local vaccine laws, but
I got into it before you arrived.
Yeah, it sounds like he's probably only going to be able to play away games for the rest of this season and the playoffs. So every time he steps out on the court, he's looking to make a statement, and by that last night he did. He's probably, in my opinion, he's one of the top 3 at worst most skilled players we've ever seen grace this earth. Like he's just a maestro with ball handling, shooting. There's not an offensive weakness that you can point to in Kyrie Irving's game, and he was special last night. But going back to the original, the dog days of March, you're going to see a lot of high scoring games in the NBA this year. Because there's a lot of teams that for all intents and purposes are just playing out the stretch, either getting ready for the playoffs or they're 1, 2, 3 Costa Rica like our boy Bubba's doing here next week. So I would expect to see a lot of high scoring games, and also too, you're going to see a lot of teams rest their veteran guys and play a lot of younger players. And where do younger players struggle the most in the NBA? Defensively.
Yeah.
And
that can be both teams that are in playoff positions, but their position's relatively secure and they want to make sure everyone's healthy. And it can also be bottom tier teams who there's no further benefit in playing a veteran guy. Might as well give these minutes to a younger guy and season him a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, so that kind of explains what's going on in this month and towards the end of the season, right? And that makes sense. But I just feel like, and I haven't done the research as far as the history, but I do have here where it lists about 20 performances of 49 points or more, and those 49 points was done in less than 40 minutes, right? So what I'm saying is, it seems like it's more 50-point games, more 60-point games. What can you attribute that to?
Well, I mentioned the part about the defense, but look at who is putting on the performances of 50, 52, 56, 60 points.
Let me say some of the names here for the people. So you have Luka,
All-Star,
who has done 40, 49 or more 4 times this season, which I did not know.
Yep.
You got Jason Tatum.
All-Star.
You got Ja Morant.
All-Star.
Durant, Trey Young, LeBron, Towns, Greek Freak, Jaylen Brown. Didn't know that.
He had the one, right?
Yeah, for everybody on that list except for Jaylen Brown.
Jokic.
Everybody on that list except for Jaylen Brown is, and with all due respect, Jaylen Brown's a great player, but everybody you just named is a top tier scorer in the NBA when they want to be. Jokic is forte, and Ja Morant's forte isn't shooting and scoring or necessarily putting the ball in the basket. It's the way they impact the game overall. But, I always say that in the NBA it takes about 20 to 30 games for guys to round into form. And especially with guys coming off COVID and, the short off season. And there were, for Luka especially, there was a lot of discussion about his weight coming into camp. And, this guy played after the NBA season. He did a full training camp with the Slovenian national team, played in the Olympics, and then took 3 weeks off, which I guess is a lot for a guy like that.
The 3 weeks is probably at the Golden Corral.
Yeah.
Because it's like, he was fit all through the Olympics. In 3 weeks, it all went very wrong.
Yeah, but keep in mind that he had a very short off season and those European training camps, those things are no joke. Those are 2-a-day practices. You're going through 2, 3, 4 hour practices and sessions, for a month and a half, 2 months leading up to the Olympics. But then with a guy like Tatum who, had a serious case of COVID last year, got it again this year. And he, once he recovered from that, and it took him a little bit to get right, you see him, he's one of the best players in the league right now, especially putting on the performances he's put on in the last 2 months. So I always say that, for these veteran superstars, it takes them a few games, and by a few, I mean 20 to 30, to round into the form and the rhythm of the season, because they want to be at their peak in April, May, and June, not November and December.
Right.
Now, I guess the other question that comes with some of these 50-point games, do they almost kind of like push each other, in the sense like you see a guy drop 60 like Karl Anthony Towns, and you're Kyrie and you're having a great first quarter, great second quarter against the Magic the other night, and yeah, let me just stay in and roll with this. You're up by 20 from the beginning of the game, basically. It wasn't a competitive necessity, but you're just like, hey, I'm rolling. Let me just play this out.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it was a competitive game, I think you would have seen Kyrie break Kobe's record with the way he was going last night. But I would say that every game, every performance is a case-by-case basis. You look at Karl Anthony Towns, he shot incredibly. I think he was 9 for 12 from 3 that night, and he was also playing against one of the league's worst defenses, one of the league's youngest teams, and the team that plays the highest pace in the league. So every Spurs game is going to be a track meet, which you wouldn't think, considering Greg Popovich, the history of the Spurs. But
and I know where you're going with that, but I want to tap in to say that is so weird to see Popovich. His legacy is not taking a hit, not one iota, but he's had some bad teams post Tim Duncan era, and it's like no one is talking about it. But other coaches, if they even threaten to fall off, Bill Belichick, if you will, all these other great coaches, Doc Rivers, things like that, once they start losing, the chatter starts. They're not as good as they used to be. But Popovich seems to keep this fucking mantle of one of the greatest coaches of all time. No one questions it.
I think you improperly put Doc Rivers in that conversation.
Yeah.
Popovich, NBA-wise, is among the greats. Belichick, I don't think Belichick's reputation gets diminished by anything either.
People talk about it, though. At least they have conversations.
A little bit of chatter about it.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Pop, in the NBA landscape, they have sort of sunk to the borderline of irrelevance. That's why I don't think there's a lot of chatter about it. They're just another team out there playing.
Yeah,
in the end,
team. Yeah, well,
I know it's a bad team, but there's so much else to talk about.
Okay.
And than the Spurs. I mean, the Spurs are really, they don't win enough games. They're not pleasing to watch. But almost true to the Popovich way, there's not a lot of controversy coming out of there. There's not dumb things happening. They're just a bad basketball team, and nobody pays that much attention.
Yeah, in the NBA, you're only as good as you're only as good a coach as your roster. And the Spurs, I think Popovich deserves credit for keeping them in the sphere of the play-in the last couple years, because last year DeJounte Murray was coming off an injury, and DeMar DeRozan never really fit with that roster. And you see what he's doing this year, and you're like, oh well, how didn't he do this in San Antonio? I don't really think that he fit with that roster. And then they were on the brink.
I want to pause briefly there, because I think that this is important to Popovich too. DeRozan did not fit in that roster. He's having an amazing season. A season I didn't expect him to have anymore. I thought he was kind of past his prime and on the way down. But he did this year, while he's playing great, speak positively of Pop and attribute some credit to him for growth as a person. And that's significant, because DeRozan could easily have said, and maybe it's just because of who Pop is, man, it was horrible playing there. They did this, they created that. I couldn't be myself. But that wasn't the direction he went.
No.
And he made some actual complimentary things in a situation where he clearly didn't fit.
But isn't some of that on Pop?
It probably is, but I'm saying, like, that's why there's this pass.
Yeah.
And I do think the pass, I think he would have caught heat if they lost the Olympics.
And they should have.
And they should have, but they didn't.
Durant,
and that was
Kevin Durant.
and that was enormous for Pop and the legacy.
No, that's true.
As a former military guy, that meant a lot to him.
Yeah, for
As
sure.
a guy that's been critical of the government in this country,
yeah.
that meant a lot to him.
Yeah, that's true.
And he got it done, and it was adverse. It wasn't easy. And we could throw the kudos on Durant. But I think a couple of these things, I do think part of why he's not catching flack is because of the quality he's displayed as a human being.
Yeah.
I do think the Spurs are kind of off the radar. They're just not good enough, and there was no expectation that they'd be good. And I think that gold medal helped a lot.
Yeah. And those players played like shit. I mean, Damian Lillard was probably hurt, and you kind of see it now, I guess. But everyone outside of KD just played like shit.
Yeah.
So
it
wouldn't have fell on Pop anyhow. But
it still would have.
It still would have. It would have. But I'm saying, knowing basketball, people know basketball.
Yeah.
Just say,
With all due respect to Pop, though, I mean, organizationally, San Antonio has put him in a place where you never want to be in the NBA, and that's trying to be competitive, and yet you don't have the roster to be competitive, and for the best results for the franchise is just to tear it all down and start from scratch.
Yeah.
And they, out of respect for Pop, I don't think they want to do that because they don't want to have them trotting out a roster like what the Magic are trotting out or Detroit's trotting out. It's just, it's just not the way that some organizations are built, and I respect the Spurs for that.
But that's bad business. I mean, you can respect it all you want, but it's still bad.
It is.
That's not the way to get better than the NBA. And they can shun the Sam Hinkies and the fucking Magic all they want to, but the bad teams that's making moves to not be as bad as the others, but you're never going to be as good as the others, you're going to stay there for fucking forever.
Yeah, but there's also too like an underrated aspect of that, and I was explaining this to somebody the other day. There are markets in which you cannot get away with what Sam Hinkie and what the Magic and what Detroit are doing.
One of them,
San Antonio, I don't think you can get away with that there.
No one cares.
I just don't think.
What else do they have?
Well, have you been to San Antonio?
I have not.
There are some very proud people in San Antonio, and I'm sure the owners are very proud people who are like, listen, we are not going to to tank, to shit the bed, whatever it is. You know who else is like that? Indiana. Indiana is awful.
I can buy that.
Indiana is awful.
I can buy Indiana. I'm not buying
But and the owner said it, hey, we are not tanking. And, they have Miles Turner. They have Tyrese Halliburton on their roster.
Yeah, Indiana's in a different spot. And, they robbed the Kings. If you can rob someone without a mask on, then that's fine. But that's not going to happen more times than not. It's just not.
I think we witnessed Sacramento commit their own murder. They are 5-15.
They've done that That's not the only bad move they made in the last 5 or 6 years. They continuously make bad moves, and they switch management, ownership, GMs, coaches.
Yeah.
And they still make the same mistakes.
Yeah. They haven't been good since the Vlade Weber days.
Yeah, which is they haven't been good since Mike Bibby was in his prime. 20 years, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean that's insane. But I mean, certain markets are. The reality in the NBA is you are nothing without a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no other scenario. But again, there is some latitude in how the superstars acquired. Sometimes you can trade or recruit one. Sometimes you draft one. Sometimes you drop them at the top of the draft. Sometimes like a Giannis, you get him in the middle of the draft, but you get the right guy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like the Magic are an example. I mean, they've had top 5 picks repeatedly over the last 12 to 14 years that they've sucked.
It's bad luck.
And they've literally missed them.
It's bad
all
luck.
the time.
But some draft that's just not that guy at the top.
Right.
And the Magic, when is the last time they had the number 1? Is it Dwight?
Dwight,
yeah.
So you have to, if you're gonna tank, you
Hopefully
have to
this
get one
year.
or two. You have to get 1 or 2, and the Magic just haven't been able to do that.
But my point is, they passed on Giannis.
Yeah. There's still guys in the draft.
Didn't they pass on Embiid too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, like
no,
Embiid.
No, they didn't.
Embiid
pass
went 3. We took him.
Oh, okay. What did the Magic have that year?
They had Hazonia.
Okay.
Oh, yikes.
Come on. But yeah, I mean, like you gotta nail the picks.
You have to nail the picks.
And again, when you're down, you're not going to be able to trade or free agent that guy in.
But it's such in science. It's such a. It's not a science, right? So, Hinkie had it right to where you just have to be really, really bad because you're going to miss on a couple of draft picks. No one hits on all of them, so you're going to miss. So you have to be bad enough to get in a position where you can get a top 3 pick every single year until it's right, and then you can fucking move on. But hey, should we be afraid of the Nets, Juan? Should we be shaking in our boots?
Hide the women and children.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like, the Nets are clearly at full strength. They are top 2 or 3 most talented team in the NBA. But to me, there's never been a team that has so many caveats that has come to fruition. And look at the Nets last year. Everybody's shaking in their boots because of Kyrie, Harden, and Durant. It never came to fruition.
Well, they couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah. They couldn't stay healthy. The Ben Simmons thing, this year, I can't see it coming to fruition only because he's going to be ready when? April 10th is when they said, or April 8th. He's going to play 2 regular season games, and then they're going right into the play-in game. Right. This is the same situation that mentally folded him last year.
Pressure.
Do they have a chance to get to 6 and avoid the play-in game?
It's very.
It's going to be very difficult
because they have 8 home games remaining. 8 of the 10 are home. So Kyrie won't be available.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you where the Nets are at right now. So the Nets are 36 and 33. They are a full 3.5 back of Cleveland,
which is in the what?
Which is in the 6.
Okay.
They're 2.5 back of Toronto,
which is in the 7.
And they are a game and a half up on Atlanta. There's no guarantee.
But 7 to 10 is the play-in.
Yes.
You got to get to 6 to avoid it. So that's 3.5 games with 9 to play or 10 to play.
Yeah. Cleveland's got Cleveland has 14 and Brooklyn has 13
to play.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little bit
better. Cleveland just lost.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and the play-in was built for what? Yeah, like you said, 7 through 10, giving the extra team a chance to make it in, and also the NBA gets extra revenue because it's sort of like an extra playoff game. You know, a 2 playoff.
There's no.
But my point to finish that is, whatever you say, Brooklyn looks strong as shit right now, right? With just Kyrie, KD, and their cast. So if you're Miami, if you're Chicago, Milwaukee, those teams in the 1, 2, 3, do you tank on the way into the season? But you can't really do that because the play-in, the Nets could fall 7th or 8th. So it's like, I don't want to face them in the first round, but I can't really do too much because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
My belief, and I'm just a big believer in this, just do you.
Okay.
Like, don't get into playing seeds, playing stuff like that.
Scenarios.
I just think you set yourself up for failure. It plants a seed of doubt in your team. And, I mean, I'll use the March Madness we talked about at the beginning of the show. It's like I don't think there's a history. There's an instance in history when a team complained about their draw and then won the thing.
Yeah.
It's always teams that just be like, okay, we got the hand we got. Yeah. Go play.
The teams that complain,
I think if you get cute about this, trying to dodge Brooklyn, it's already in your head that Brooklyn's a problem.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're the top 1 or 2 seeds. These motherfuckers haven't played together all year. We're better than that.
Yeah,
you gotta believe it.
But we know they're not.
Yeah, in Brooklyn, with Brooklyn has it. I mean, so like, let me just go through this scenario real quick.
Yeah.
So right now, Toronto's in 7th, Brooklyn's in 8th. Brooklyn has to go to Toronto in a game that Kyrie cannot play in because it's in Canada.
You're talking about the play-in game?
The play-in game.
Okay.
So if they were to lose that game...
Can you, because I'm not clear, like, how exactly does that 7 to 10 play-in scenario work?
Okay, so 7 plays 8, and the winner of that gets the 7th seed. The loser gets the winner of 9 versus 10, and 9 versus 10 is a loser goes home game.
Okay.
So not 9 would host 10. So if Brooklyn were to lose in Toronto, they would host Atlanta or Charlotte. And keep in mind, they host Atlanta or Charlotte in a game no Kyrie.
And so they could.
Yeah, but they'll beat.
Then that's a winner.
I don't know, man.
That's a
I
winner.
know.
I mean, Charlotte, yes. Atlanta, man.
Kevin Durant and that good team, that is not a bad. They have a really good team outside of Kyrie and KD. That team is not losing to Atlanta or Charlotte in a play-in game.
I
It's
mean,
just not. I would bet my life savings on it.
Listen,
What do
the
you got,
NBA,
Not much.
the NBA,
$5 to be exact.
the NBA was never meant to be like the NCAA tournament, but there are some funky things that can
There
happen
is.
in one-game
And
scenarios.
this year, I like
We've seen
it. For
weird
that
things
reason,
happen.
I like it.
Yeah.
For that reason, this year.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like
I mean, as a
it. Last year, I
fan,
didn't care too much for
as a
it.
neutral fan, it's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a roll of the dice. Like any funky
Yeah.
thing could happen. You know, I mean, the NBA game, it's a game of makes or misses. Like, you know, a team like Charlotte could, you know, hit 52% of their threes that night, and you know somebody hits 14%, and you go home.
Yeah, but sometimes you know. Sometimes you know.
I don't know.
And
man.
I know.
I don't know.
Yeah, but with back to what Pink was saying, like, I don't think there's any team in the top 4 in the East. That's Miami, Chicago, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, that are going to be afraid, let's say, of Brooklyn, because for the most part, and I put Philadelphia and Milwaukee in this because they've had some adversity and injuries throughout the year, is they've done everything right. Like they've played the games, they've done what they can with what they have. And Miami, I think, is a real dark horse to win it because they're the top seed in the East, and they've had Kyle Lowry miss a significant amount of time.
Their whole team hasn't been together.
Yeah,
but they still create chemistry, and they have one of the top 3 coaches in the entire basketball association.
They've got 8 undrafted guys on their
is a
roster,
beast.
and they, I could see like a Max Strus or a Yurtsevin or somebody like that who's kind of filled in this year being a factor in the playoffs, depending on who they play, because the playoffs is all matchup based anyway.
It's all matchup based, but there are only 2 teams that can beat the Nets in the series in the East. Only 2.
Yeah.
And that's Miami and that's Milwaukee. Those are the only 2 teams that can defeat Brooklyn. And that's, I don't care what's going on. I don't care if Kyrie is in Canada or he can't play or can play. I don't care if Ben plays or he's in it with his therapist that day. I don't care any of that. There's only 2 teams that can defeat the Brooklyn Nets, and that's it. And that's what it's going to come down to.
So you don't think Philly can beat Brooklyn?
No.
Really?
No, at least you're honest about it, because I
Philly-
don't think they can either.
No, Philly is a good matchup for Miami, for Chicago, Cleveland, things like that. We will really struggle against Milwaukee, and
I'm worried
Nets,
about their
because
depth, man.
we have no depth.
I am worried about
It's
their
not even
depth.
it's not even depth. We have 2 good players on our team, and that's it. That's it. We have 2 good players on our team.
So you don't think Tobias
We
Harris
have
is
2 good players and a lot of trash.
Tyrese Maxey?
We have 2 good players, a lot of trash, and 1 young piece who can develop.
So do you regret the trade?
Not a day in my life. I love the trade. It's just you can't make one trade. We need more. If it would have been in the off season, then you can get a free agent or 2 and this and that. But it happened at the deadline, so you can't do anything more. We would love to get off of Tobias, but whatever. And then we have no bench players, have nobody to back up Embiid. It's a shit show. So
Yeah,
it's just how it
DeAndre,
goes.
I am legitimately in shock at what's happened.
He should have been home 2-3 years ago. He is fucking outrageous.
I saw him
He is
live.
awful.
I saw him live on Sunday, and
He's
man,
awful.
what has happened to him?
He's not a guy that took care of himself.
That has to
I mean,
be it.
there's been stories for years.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that took care of himself.
That must be it.
He was a big, athletic dude, and when that faded, he had nothing to offer.
I mean, absolutely nothing.
He's never committed to fitness.
But he's missing
nutrition.
layups.
He is a freak, though. God damn, I would love to have his physique.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you're like that. I mean, we talk about ladies who are just naturally fit, not going to the gym just because they're naturally whatever. They have it naturally. And they don't have to go to the gym like the other girls. So that's just like these NBA guys. They feel like they don't have to work out.
But the further evidence is like he literally got better at nothing as an NBA.
Absolutely.
Over the duration
free throws.
Marginally.
I mean, he's like a 70% shooter now. He was like a 42%er in his prime with the Clippers.
But he's getting to the line 0.8 times a game.
Yeah,
I mean,
now.
So, I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I just
but
he's not a guy I have much respect for.
I would love to see. I'm not the guy that wants to save matchups and shit like that. I would love to see Miami Brooklyn first round. That's a high possibility of happening, and I want to see that.
You know what will be a good series if it happens
What's
is
that?
Philadelphia Cleveland. That'll be a nice series.
That's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
But we swept Cleveland this year. We just beat them tonight, too.
Yeah, that'll be a nice series.
I think we'll still beat them in 4 or 5. It's it's a terrible matchup for them.
Cleveland, I think, is just too green to achieve anything this year.
Yeah, well, they got,
and the guy is out for the rest of the year.
Jared Allen.
Yeah.
I thought he avoided surgery and he's going to come back.
Oh, he avoided surgery?
Yeah.
So he'll be back for playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I just think that team doesn't have playoff moxie yet. They're going to earn their stripes this year.
Yeah.
Probably losing a first-round series, but hopefully they get something out of it. It's just too tall an order, I think, in the NBA to come in and win.
What about West Side?
Yeah.
West
The
Side.
what?
West.
The West.
Oh, the West. I mean, what do you want to talk about in the West? It's clearly been supplanted by the East as the better conference.
It really has. Remember the times, man.
The West is just real top heavy. You have Phoenix, Golden State, Memphis, and everybody else. And
I wouldn't even put Memphis in that category. I know it's a really good young team, but they're not going to beat Phoenix or Golden State. Like realistically, they're just not. And they can very well lose to a
Denver in the first round is going to be a problem if they face them.
Yeah.
I mean that Dallas Utah, Denver, that 4-5-6 is going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
They are so even.
Because Murray and Porter come back, Denver is going to be a problem. And with all due respect to the season Embiid's having, Nikola Jokic should be the MVP for the second straight year.
No fucking way.
No
fucking way.
Have you seen?
No, hold on. I've seen Denver. First of all, Denver has a much better team than the 76ers. I do not want to. I hate these guys on television. Nikola Jokic hasn't been playing with anybody.
First of all,
there's no way.
First of all, Denver without Jokic this season is worse than the Magic.
I'm ready for that.
Worse than the Magic. Austin Rivers might be the second best player.
Philadelphia without Embiid is the Winter Park Wildcats. They lose by 30,000 points every game. When the point differential with him off of the court is legendary. It's fucking throughout the history of the NBA is bottom 5 without him on the court.
Okay, so
like he is the only reason, like defense and offensively wise, you have to think about that too. Defensively, look it up. I swear on everything in my life, Denver is a much better defensive team when Jokic leaves the game. The numbers, the defensive splits when Jokic is in the game and out of the game, Denver is a much better team defensively.
Okay, but what about offense?
Okay, offensively they're better. But what I'm saying is
offensively they're better.
They're better with Jokic on the floor.
On offense.
Yeah.
I'm giving you that point.
I say you're agreeing with me.
I'm saying
with Jokic
correct.
on the
with
floor.
With Jokic on the floor versus off. They're much better. But with Embiid, it's both. That's number one. It's both, right? Defensive and offensive, they're much better when he's on, much worse when he's off. And because we don't have any like perimeter anything, pre-James, we just got James, and Lord knows how terrible James is on defense. He doesn't even try. So everything is funneling to Embiid, right? But when he's off the court, who are you funneling to? That's number one. That's my first point. My second point to who he's playing with, right? to who he's playing with. I don't know if you want to do pre-James or after James, but Austin Rivers is better than every guard we fucking have.
Better than Tyrese Maxey? Listen, I love Austin, but I think Tyrese might be better than him right now.
You see what he said, might be, right?
No,
because
he is.
The national theory would be Maxey is better. Maxey is so inconsistent, which young players are. And you can say Austin is as well, but he's still a veteran presence. He shows up in big games. Maxey has yet to show up in one big game. I love Maxey. He's a young player. I love Maxey. Maxey's my guy. I want to have a drink with Maxey, but he's a young player. He does not show up when we need him. He doesn't know what to do. He's like lights in the and then that's it. Denver has so many guys who can go get you 8 to 10 points. You have the guy who just shot 28 points the end of the second round. I don't even know his name, but he's averaging 11 points this season.
Who, Monty Morris?
No, but I bet you named 4. You can name 4 or 5 of those same guys.
Jeff Green. I mean,
see what I'm saying? You can name 4 or 5 of us. We don't have one.
Okay. So
we don't have one.
So let me. I'm just
but
gonna name.
But that's not the guy I'm talking about.
I'm gonna name. So, would you rather play with James Harden, Tyrese Maxey,
we just got James,
Tobias Harris, and Kork Maz? Or who's Philly's fifth starter?
Kork Maz hasn't seen the floor in 3 weeks, and he's perfectly healthy. He's a fucking bum.
Who's the Philly's fifth starter that I'm missing?
We rotate. Sometimes it's Danny Green, who is fucking done.
Hurt.
No, he's not. He hasn't seen
the fucking floor.
He was on street clothes.
Yeah.
No, he was not. He just played in Denver 5 minutes. He did. He's just he's
he
a terrible basketball player.
He didn't play against the Magic.
Because he's a terrible basketball player now. Kork Maz is done. But it rotates between Danny, Shake, or Matisse Thybulle. It rotates. We don't even have a full fucking starting 5.
Okay, or would you rather play so it's James Harden, Matisse Thybulle,
yes,
Tyrese Maxey, and Tobias. Okay, so those 4, or would you rather play with Monty Morris, Austin Rivers, Aaron Gordon, and JaMychal Green?
That all day.
You really?
Now let's go piece by piece. Aaron Gordon is a much better basketball player than Tobias Harris. He does more. He's light years better defender. Tobias Harris couldn't defend me in a fucking hallway. Like he's god awful on defense, and he's 6'10" for fucking nothing. All right. He's much better than Aaron Gordon. JaMychal Green.
He's a junkyard dog.
We have no junkyard dogs.
Okay,
that's part of our problem. We don't have anybody that can. We had Drummond. Drummond was maybe a top 5 junkyard dog in the league, right? But now we don't have one on the roster. All right. So there you go. We don't have that. So I'll take JaMychal Green over Matisse. So let's go there. Yes, over Matisse Thybulle, who averages 2 points a game and 1.8 steals a game.
I don't know that there's 3 people I would rather have on defense than Matisse Thybulle.
That is a misconception. See, and I'm trying to teach you because last year you were off base too because you don't watch the games. You have to watch 76ers games to understand the talent that we have.
I just watched 2 of them.
Matisse Thybulle is a defender that plays in lanes. He's a lane defender. He's not a perimeter defender. Perimeter defenders are lock-up guys. He is if you look it up, you don't have to take my word for it. But he's bottom 20 in fucking man-on-man perimeter defense. He is in the lane. He's going to get a steal. He's going to make a steal a game. He's going to help defense block a game, but he's not holding anyone to less points. That's not what he does. And he didn't do that in college either. That's another misconception.
What do you mean? He was a 3-time defensive player of the year
in the
Pac-12.
Because of what he did in the lanes. That's not perimeter defense. If your guy scores 40 points, 30 points on a consistent basis, but during the middle of the game, you may get 3 or 4 steals because of a bad turnover here and there. You know what I mean? You play Westbrook, you're going to get 9 of those. So it just depends. But that's the kind of guy he is. He's not a lock-up perimeter defender.
You see, I disagree with your assessment.
Well, you don't have to disagree with me, but the numbers will tell you that as well.
Okay, well then the numbers might say something in a vacuum, but I would rather have Matisse Thybulle because he's a guy who plays his role. He
doesn't play his role. We have him in the 3 and D role, and he has no 3, and he has half of the D.
Listen, don't argue with me. Argue with Daryl Morey. Didn't want to trade Matisse. You almost didn't get James Harden because Daryl Morey, who knows what he's talking about, he wouldn't go get his boy James Harden because he didn't want to trade Matisse Thybulle.
They wanted Matisse and Maxey. Tell the whole story now.
Okay,
Don't
well,
tell half the story. You can't get to page 5 and say it's over. You know what I mean? You got to tell the whole story. But Embiid is the MVP. Jokic, I'll guarantee you this as well. He's going to finish over Jokic in the MVP race. None of us have a vote, but I can guarantee that. I would put money on that.
Let's bet on it. I bet you Jokic.
You think Jokic ends higher than, no matter who wins, you think Jokic will have more first-place votes?
I think it's a four-man race.
More votes total?
It's Jokic, Embiid.
That's a good question.
It's Jokic.
If we're going to do an actual bet.
Yeah, I'll go total votes. I'll go. It's gonna be Jokic, Embiid, Ja Morant, and Booker. I think those are the four MVP candidates. Giannis and Curry.
They'll get a couple votes.
They'll get a few votes here and there,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I think it's really between three guys because Booker. Booker's been great, but Morant, Jokic, and Embiid have just been on another level.
Yeah, I don't see what Booker does as being on the same
Why
level
we don't
as the
respect
other three.
Phoenix like that? I don't want to believe it either. But
well, I was going to talk.
I respect the team. I mean,
do we?
I
don't.
I was going to talk about that the last time I came in here, and I had like a whole paper of stats and stuff written down. But Phoenix, like, number one, they're not like particularly sexy to the average viewer, and they run a ton of sets, and they don't have a lot of household names, but besides Booker and Chris Paul, who's out. But you have guys like Cameron Payne, who people look at him and be like, oh, he's not very good. He's the guy who flamed out of the league after 2 stints with the Thunder and the Bulls, and their own coaching staffs called him awful. You have Jay Crowder, who has been on 6 or 7 different teams, but he's a guy, like I was just saying about Matisse Thybulle, plays his role, but he plays it to a T. He spreads the floor, he rebounds, he guards.
He's not afraid of the moment. He competes.
He's a hard-nosed dog.
I believe in Phoenix because they have a properly calibrated roster. They have an elite scorer in Booker. They have an elite floor general and leader.
So
in
you
Paul.
really believe they can win it all? That's what I'm saying.
They were in that damn final last year.
And to me,
it wasn't.
That's not the national concession.
I don't care what the national.
I think the most.
Most people are fucking stupid.
I guess I'm stupid too because I don't believe in that team.
I think the most.
I know they're deep.
But literally, what is there not to believe in? Because this team made it to the finals last year. They returned from losing the final and have basically from day one had the best record in the league.
I guess it's.
I mean, it consistently.
Well,
they don't have a superstar.
Well, no. First of all, Chris Paul is one of the best point guards. To me, I think it's Magic Johnson and Chris Paul. That's in terms of point guards. It's 1A and 1B. But you look at
you went 1A, 1B, not even 1-2.
Well, 1-2, whatever. But you look at Phoenix's you look at Phoenix's run to the playoffs last year. They beat a depleted Lakers team.
Yeah.
Then they beat a depleted Denver team, and then they beat a depleted Clippers team. And then when they ran into a team at full strength, Milwaukee.
Well, you're making my point.
They didn't get it done. Now, again, people will point to that and say, "Listen, we don't respect it," but they are better this year than they were last year. And I'll tell you why. DeAndre Ayton.
What they did this year substantiated what they did last year. They came back, ran it back with largely the same roster.
Yeah.
And they got better.
They did.
And more solid. And they're a team that benefited from making that run to the finals. They got a lot of mental toughness, a lot of togetherness out of that run, and it's meant something. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes people make a run and guys go separate ways.
Well, it
whatever.
started in the bubble here in Disney.
Yeah, I mean, if you really look at it, it did start in the bubble.
Yeah.
That was the first time Phoenix had kind of gotten a place of respectability in many years. And then, what did they do? People said, maybe they got a little something. Then they get Chris Paul. They make it to the goddamn finals. Now they come back and wire-to-wire best record. There's no guarantee they win the title.
No, because it's basketball.
This is a legitimate basketball
But
team.
if they don't win it, it is a downside. It's an upset. It's a fucking, you know what I mean? It's a bad season.
DeAndre Ayton to me is, in my opinion, the most underappreciated player in the league. He completes that team. And, you have Chris Paul and you have Booker, and then you kind of have the rest of their roster. But then there's that piece that just kind of holds it all together, both offensively and defensively. And DeAndre Ayton, to me, is that guy.
They are a classically constructed team.
They really are.
They have a playmaking point guard. They have an elite scoring wing, and a traditional two-way impactful big man.
Yeah.
And surrounded by role players.
Role players who are
elite
level
role players.
And
Miles Bridges.
Who's an actual 3D
Michael
guy.
Michael Bridges, I'm sorry.
Who's an actual 3D guy and who's going to have a real chance at defensive player of the year. That's a guy that I say is good on defense.
A guy who can
Perimeter
be
defense.
in the most improved conversation along with Morant and Anthony is Cam Johnson. Have you guys seen Cam Johnson play? That guy
is unbelievable. But I don't know if he's going to be most improved because he was awesome last year.
He was good last year, but
he's
this
awesome
year
this year.
he's on a different level.
And just to you guys' points, that's that's 4 players on Phoenix team.
You can make
good last year, awesome this year.
You can make an argument that Cam Johnson is the best North Carolina player in the NBA, but he's not. I don't know that he's.
Well, it ain't Kobe fucking White, I'll tell you that.
What about the guy from the Magic?
Barnes.
What about the guy from the Magic?
Cole Anthony?
Yeah.
I would take Cam Johnson over Cole Anthony.
But that's an argument, right?
No.
It's not an argument. Cole has had some big games.
Harrison Barnes.
I'm sure his stats still look better.
I'm not a Cole Anthony guy.
I'm starting to become one, but he's a guy. He's like good stats, bad team guy. But between Harrison Barnes and Cam Johnson, those are the 2 best UNC players.
Cole Anthony has improved, but I still don't really like him. I respect the improvement, and hopefully there's more there. Because if there isn't more there, he's not much.
Yeah.
That's the way that goes. But I'm still on the Golden State thing. Draymond's coming back. Wiseman, Iggy will be back. I think that they'll be a tough out in the playoffs.
Yeah, it'll be. I think the Western Conference, the final 4 teams, it's going to be Phoenix, Golden State, Memphis, and I think Denver. If they can get a fully healthy Porter back, that's a huge if.
Yeah,
huge if.
I agree with you. I'm excited for the playoffs. I mean,
I think it's going to be a really great playoffs.
I think this will be the best playoffs you've ever seen. I don't know that we'll see the Lakers in a best of 7 series. I mean, I was just talking to somebody about this before I got here. As it stands right now, they would host New Orleans as the 9th seed in a loser goes home match, and then they'd have to go beat the Clippers or Minnesota, who the Clippers own them.
The Clips have owned them,
Yeah, the Clippers have owned them.
What if they done with Minnesota? Is that a split or?
I mean, Minnesota, they actually playing them today, and let's see how they're doing. I saw they were down 15 earlier. Yeah, they're down 17. But yeah, I mean, going to Minnesota in a winner-take-all match, in a winner-take-all Game 7 scenario. You still have LeBron James, but man, with this Lakers team, I just don't see it.
They're stringing together so many bad, lifeless performances.
Yeah,
that's horrendous to me. I put a lot of value in teams that compete and fight nightly. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna lose some games, but you just don't see the fight, and you don't see it consistently out of this team. Yeah, they don't like each other. They don't believe in each other. They're shit.
Yeah,
just are. There's no. You can't dress it up.
No, you can't. But I'll tell you what, we went long here on the show, man.
Yes, we did.
But we had some good conversation.
For sure.
So
absolutely.
We need to end it here. Pick back up next week. You guys have been on the bench with Bubba and Pink. Shout out to Juan. Appreciate you coming through.
Man, appreciate y'all having me. It's always great to be here.
And shout out to Mike O'Donnell, man. We appreciate the college basketball talk from earlier. Catch you guys next week.
Later.